Alright, let's talk about Jayden Higgins being our primary breakout candidate for the Houston Texans this year. While the rest of the league looks for sophomore stars, we have a guy in Higgins who proved he can dominate the intermediate game while Nico Collins and Tank Dell pull the defense apart. This situation boils down to two things: his established chemistry in this offense and the massive jump in production he is poised to make. There is so much more to unpack regarding his target share. Smash that like button, subscribe, and tell us your city. Let's break it down. Training camps are officially underway, and for us Houston Texans fans, the buzz surrounding wide receiver Jayden Higgins is becoming impossible to ignore. As we look for that next breakout star, analysts have highlighted the Iowa State product as a critical sophomore piece in our offense. Higgins arrived in Houston as a draft pick last year and immediately fought for a role in a transition-heavy passing attack. During his rookie campaign, he quietly put together 525 receiving yards and maintained a threat rate of nearly 19%, proving he could handle the professional workload. Here's what people are missing when they discuss the depth chart. While Tank Dell returns and Jalen Noel fights for a spot, Higgins brings a specific, necessary skill set to the middle of the field. His size is a genuine asset for DeMeco Ryans as we look to create mismatches in the intermediate game. Fans feel a mix of cautious optimism and genuine excitement about this development, especially because his presence allows Nico Collins to stretch defenses vertically while the short game remains secure. We have seen young players struggle with consistency before, but Higgins seems to have found a rhythm that complements our established weapons. It is a relief to see depth emerging naturally, yet the conversation around his ceiling raises a deeper concern. How will the coaching staff prioritize target distribution between these talented receivers if everyone demands the ball on Sunday? That question looms over our entire offensive identity as we look at the competition brewing in the wide receiver room and how it will eventually shape the production of our quarterbacks this season. The most shocking development this summer is that Jayden Higgins is not just competing for a depth spot, but is being positioned by the staff to become the central anchor of our intermediate passing attack. Back in his rookie year, Higgins had to navigate a landscape where our offensive identity was still finding its footing. Yet he managed to post 525 receiving yards and an impressive 19% threat rate, despite the team struggling to move the ball consistently. This is where it gets real, because the front office decisions under DeMeco Ryans clearly suggest they value Higgins as a reliable safety valve who complements the vertical speed of Nico Collins and the short area agility of Tank Dell. We have seen teams attempt to force receivers into roles that do not fit their natural instincts before, but Higgins is different because he truly thrives working between the numbers. Behind closed doors, the coaching staff is likely viewing his development as the key to unlocking a more balanced offensive scheme that keeps defensive coordinators guessing. While many fans have kept their focus on the flashy highlight plays, the internal belief is that a player with his specific frame and route running savviness provides the stability we lacked during tight playoff pushes in recent years. It is a calculated gamble on a player who has already proven he can contribute when the pressure is at its peak. By prioritizing his growth this year, the Texans are looking to solidify a unit that can sustain drives, rather than just relying on explosive plays, ultimately ensuring that our offense remains efficient and lethal throughout the long 2026 season. Now that we have reviewed the league-wide landscape, it is time to shift our focus to what this means for our Houston Texans specifically. Now, here's the thing. While much of the national conversation centers on established stars, the true championship trajectory of this franchise depends entirely on whether depth pieces like Jayden Higgins can evolve into reliable weekly starters. This matters right now because DeMeco Ryans needs to establish a consistent offensive rhythm to support our high-octane passing game. By Higgins securing that crucial intermediate role, we shift the entire balance of our depth chart, allowing Nico Collins and Tank Dell more freedom to create explosive plays outside. This change creates a more dangerous, unpredictable offense that will force defensive coordinators to abandon their base packages during pivotal matchups against the Colts and the Jaguars. When we look at our standing within the AFC South, this development is the catalyst we need to separate ourselves from the pack. Our playoff chances rely on winning those high-stakes division games where field position and efficient third-down conversions are the difference between victory and defeat. If Higgins successfully commands the middle of the field, We remove the burden from our veterans and create a multi-dimensional attack that is far more difficult to contain over a full 17-game season. Having a consistent contributor at receiver gives us the flexibility to manage our salary cap effectively while keeping our championship window wide open under Mcnair. As Houston Texans fans, we should feel optimistic that our coaching staff is prioritizing this smart, calculated growth that will pay dividends when the pressure intensifies this winter. As we evaluate the Houston Texans roster heading into this critical training camp period, the focus shifts to wide receiver Jayden Higgins. The strongest argument for his breakout is his specialized role within our offense, as he consistently thrives in the intermediate game over the middle of the field. This precise skill set perfectly complements the vertical threat of Nico Collins and the short-range dynamism provided by Tank Dell. What nobody is talking about is the genuine risk that the depth chart could squeeze his production, particularly if Jalen Noel or other depth pieces outperform expectations in these practices. While some analysts believe the heavy reliance on an intermediate passing game is a sign of schematic maturity under DeMeco Ryans, others argue it might limit our explosive potential if we do not find ways to diversify. Here is where I land on this. I find the excitement surrounding Higgins valid, yet perhaps slightly inflated by his strong rookie campaign of 525 receiving yards. It is common to see sophomore players plateau once opposing defensive coordinators adjust their schemes to account for specific tape. I believe the coaching staff will continue to trust his 19% threat rate, but expecting a massive statistical leap might be premature given the number of talented mouths we have to feed in this wide receiver room. We should anticipate a reliable, steady contribution rather than a sudden explosion into stardom. If Higgins can maintain his efficiency while navigating the increased attention from opposing secondaries, he will certainly remain a vital cog in our passing attack throughout the upcoming season as we pursue our ultimate championship aspirations in Houston. When we take the broader scope of these league-wide breakout candidates and weigh them against our own roster moves, the picture that emerges is one of a franchise clearly committed to building from within rather than chasing expensive, unproven short-term fixes. This deliberate strategy signals a long-term vision where development remains the heartbeat of our success over the next several seasons. As Houston Texans fans, we should feel genuinely optimistic about this approach because DeMeco Ryans and our front office are placing a high premium on consistency and player growth, which creates a much more stable foundation for championship contention under Mcnair. And I cannot stress this enough, the fact that we are nurturing talents like Jayden Higgins in the intermediate game proves we have a specific, disciplined plan to maximize the diverse skill sets of our existing playmakers. When you combine Nico Collins' ability to stretch the field with the reliability of our younger receivers in the middle, the offensive ceiling becomes much higher than a surface-level glance might suggest. It is about trust in our system and the belief that our homegrown talent can evolve into household names. Looking ahead to the upcoming campaign, we have every reason to be excited about the chemistry currently brewing throughout these summer workouts. To keep things focused on our own growth, do you believe Jayden Higgins will surpass his rookie total of 525 receiving yards this season? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Toro time. I'll see you in the next one.